Let's talk about Autopilot. Autopilot is a result of unconscious behavior over the course of years, right? It's patterns. It is familiarity. It is what you were conditioned by and continue to be utilized by. Autopilot is the thing that leads a lot of people to believe that they don't have free will. And it's interesting because more recently I actually just finished reading a very short book um, called Feeling is the Secret. And this book is all about manifestation and how it is required to embody the energy of that which you wish to manifest, right? And this goes into the whole thing. There's the contrast between, Newtonian causing an effect and then quantum effecting a cause, right? So it's basically just flipped. And there's this very interesting thing in this book that I read that suggests that we don't have free will because everything that we do has a consequence, whether it's positive or negative, right? So we are not free from the actions that we make and the consequences that come with those actions, right? However, in what we choose to create, I would argue that we very much are free. And any time that we spend in autopilot is time that we are not spending in the conscious creation of what it is that we're trying to, pursue. That's all. But the reason why I want to explore autopilot is because I think it's a very interesting subject, and I think that there's a lot of noise surrounding autopilot, free will, all that kind of stuff. Here's what needs to be understood. There is always a program running, regardless. Regardless of whether you believe in free will or not. There's always a program running. That program can be saying to you, I think I can. I believe I can. Or it can be saying the exact opposite. And again, whether you think you can or you can't, whether you think you can or you think you can't, that's just the reality of it. So, autopilot is very interesting to me because throughout my life, what I've come to realize is that the very reason why I felt like I didn't have free will is simply because I was caught inside of a program that I was conditioned by that led me to acting out the same behaviors over and over and over again. This is the only reason why I ever believed that I didn't have free will. Now, these behaviors are usually a result of everything that you experienced growing up, whether it was trauma or not. Oftentimes, it is trauma that shapes negative behaviors that are not beneficial for us. So, when I look at autopilot, I look a lot at trauma, right? Because I would argue that autopilot as a subject comes up because we're probably dissatisfied with the way that our life is unfolding before us. Usually because there's some type of behavior there that we're just like, no, I'm not happy about that, right? But autopilot, I wouldn't say that it's a bad thing. If you've learned great habits, which I have, right? If you've learned discipline and morning routines and nighttime routines and all these things that shape your life into an incredible thing, it's just habit. Autopilot is a result of habit. Autopilot is a result of habit. And I think that it's very important to look at it from that standpoint because when you do, you realize that it's not inherently good or bad. And it also doesn't negate free will. It doesn't void free will. What it does do is show you that, okay, as long as I build positive habits, the autopilot's still going to be there. It's just what I've gotten used to. It's not that it's good or bad, it's just what I've gotten used to. So let's take that in the direction of building positive habits. And then, of course, that changes the dynamics of everything, right? Autopilot itself is not inherently good or bad. It's just the foundation of what autopilot is bringing with it that creates the experience in life. And that's how it works.